It's preparing. It'll be just another couple minutes, or a minute or so. Live right now on YouTube. It's preparing. It'll be just another couple minutes, or a minute or so. All right, you're ready.
Thank you. All right, good evening, everyone. Good afternoon. This is the Town Council, the Shoreham Town Council meeting agenda for Tuesday, August 25th, 2020. We're meeting at 5 p.m. this evening. The Town Council is meeting via telecommunications pursuant to the State of Rhode Island Executive Order 2046, dated June 12th, 2020. There is Zoom access, as been advertised on Clerkbase and the Town Bulletin Board. I would remind everyone, if you're joining us tonight from the public via video, we would ask you to please break off and join us via telephone. The bandwidth, we cannot support, the bandwidth cannot support a lot of people on the video. So the participants in the meeting will be on video, but we ask anyone who's just listening in to please join us via telephone. If you are on the telephone anyway, as a participant, I remind you to use *6 and *6 to mute and unmute your phone, and to keep your phone unmuted if you're not speaking, please. And also to use *9 to raise your hand and lower your hand. Thank you. Tonight we are joined for the first council meeting by the new town manager, Mary Ann Crawford. I'd like to welcome you, Mary Ann, to the agenda and to the town this evening.
Did we let her in?
Yeah, she's there.
Oh, somehow I was knocked out.
Are you there?
I was knocked out,
Okay, sorry.
but I'm here. But thank you very much for welcoming me. I'm looking forward to working with the council and the rest of the folks on Block Island. And I appreciate the time and efforts of the search committee as well as the town council and their efforts of hiring me, and as I move forward with my move to Block Island. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mary Ann, and welcome again. Moving on to the agenda. I would like to also mention that the meeting can be seen on YouTube, and that YouTube address is also available on Clerkbase and on the agenda on Clerkbase. So the first item on the agenda is discuss and act on the amending emergency ordinance pertaining to outdoor entertainment license for all license holders to conform with the settlement agreement. This is carrying over from a previous meeting. We had, as you remember, the town council had pulled back the outdoor entertainment licenses as a precautionary measure in terms of COVID, and we had been approached by a group of the outdoor entertainment license holders, I believe 5 of them, with a request for a compromise or a change to allow the outdoor entertainment licenses to be in effect with limited hours of participation of performances. That is to say, from only outdoor entertainment licenses would be active from 5 in the evening till 9 in the evening, and only 2 performers per venue. After being approached with that, the town council did consider it, and we did at the last meeting decide that it was a reasonable request, and instructed the council, Nola, the town's solicitor, to negotiate that settlement with those parties. Councilman Willie, I see your hand up. You'll be recusing.
Yes, thank you, Ken. I hold an outdoor entertainment license.
Great. I'm sorry. Thank you.
No worries.
So as I said, the negotiation was had, and we did decide to go forward with that. I believe it was the intent of the council, and correct me if I'm wrong, anyone on the council, to was the intent of the council to make this provision available, this opening from 5 to 9, available to all outdoor entertainment licenses. And so I believe that we need to make that clear. And we also need to accept the settlement agreement, I believe. Councilor Marola, do we have to take appropriate official action on that settlement agreement?
No, the settlement agreement was executed by the interim town manager. The case has been dismissed, and that's all set.
Very good. But we do, I believe, need to take action in order to make that provision for all the outdoor entertainment licenses, do we not?
Correct.
Thank you. Council, do you have any comments or questions at this point? Councilman?
Yeah, Ken?
Martha, go ahead.
Yeah, it was absolutely my intent that this apply to all outdoor entertainment licenses. And I apologize for any miscommunication that happened on the part of the town. I don't believe anybody was penalized over the weekend because of technically being in violation. Because it is, again, I don't believe it was anyone's intent that this would apply only to the persons who were involved in that lawsuit. It was supposed to have been across the board, and that was actually my original motion. So I most certainly am in favor of this.
Thank you, Martha. Councilman Risen?
Yeah, just to confirm and restate what Martha said, that was my intent as well, and I thought that's what we had done, but I'm glad we're correcting it now, and thank you.
Okay. Andre, did you want to chime in?
Just, no, I just,
You're breaking up, Andre. We can't.
it was our intent. It's just what we voted on the other night, just didn't include them. So, I have nothing to say. I'm just glad that they're all up. I'm good.
Okay, Andre, I appreciate your sentiments, but your link is very bad. You're breaking up, and the video is not that great either.
It's Block Island internet. There's nothing I can do.
Okay.
You can do what I
Be a
do,
good-
which is why I do it.
It'd be a good night if I don't have to speak a lot.
Then Risen.
Andre, you may want to just if you shut your video off, your audio may be better. I'm just thinking about bandwidth. That's what I had to do the other day. It may help.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone. I will make a motion to amend the emergency ordinance pertaining to outdoor entertainment licenses for all license holders to indicate that all license holders can now operate outdoor entertainment licenses between the hours of 5 p.m. and 9 p.m. with a limit of 2 performers at the venue.
Second.
Thank you, Andre. We have a second by Andre on the motion. Any further discussion or questions? If not, all those in favor, Andre? Andre?
Aye.
Thank you. Martha? Martha?
Oh, aye. And I also want to thank the people who were in the lawsuit who came forward with the proposal. I don't think we did that last time.
Good point. Thank you, Martha. Martha votes in the affirmative also. Sven Riesen?
Aye.
I vote in the affirmative also. The motion carries with 1 recusal, 4-0. So that is officially done. Next item on the agenda is to receive and act on reports on the previous weekend's traffic enforcement effort by the Rhode Island State Police and the report on motorized vehicle accidents requiring rescue assistance for the same period. Chief Carlone, are you on at this time? Chief Carlone?
He's muted.
I understand. I'm trying to, there he is.
Yes, I am.
Great. Chief, could you give us a synopsis of how the weekend went in terms of the enhanced enforcement from the Rhode Island State Police, please?
I think it went very well. I've been around the island several times, and it's nice to drive around the island and have everybody driving at 25 miles an hour politely. I've done it several times to inspect many different areas at different times. I think it's a true success, and the challenge will be carrying it forward. We got this all funded 100%, as you know, thanks to the state police. The challenge will be to carry this forward, and I think it's very, very important for the community.
Thank you, Chief. Do you have any details or anything you can just give us some idea about how the enforcement went? I know it was very clear from the Colonel of the State Police, James Manny, that when they came out here, their intention, and obviously that's what they did, was to enforce all motor vehicle regulations. And can you give us an idea of what that included for the weekend? Just a brief synopsis.
Certainly. That included DUI patrols, truck squad activity where they inspect vehicles for safety, speed enforcement on every level for motor vehicles. So it's a wide-ranging thing. It's not targeted at anyone in particular. It's across the board. If the violation is observed, it is taken care of. The same with, we are carrying on the enforcement program on the days off. Of course, we have much less people, but we're bringing people in to do it. So things, even when they're not here, for instance, today, it's been very, very good. So the plan is working.
Okay. Thank you, Chief. Does council have any questions for the chief at this time? Sven Reeson.
Chief, thank you for the update, and I agree. I think I wrote you at one point saying I thought the best thing of the weekend was what I didn't hear. I didn't hear a lot of beeping horns. I didn't hear a lot of rescue sirens. But you mentioned that during the weekdays, or when the state police are not here, whatever days those are, you mentioned you had extra coverage. Can you help us with what that is, or did I mishear you?
No, that's true. We put on an extra patrol to keep this going so that we could augment our patrol division who are busy with calls. We put on an extra person sporadically to keep this operation going and keep the traffic enforcement going in various parts of the island so that it wouldn't be just on certain days. Now, the state police are going to come on various days. And that's one of the things we're talking about. They're not going to be confined to a certain set of days until the end of the year. I'm talking to the colonel. I said, let's do it. Let's break it up. Let's do it on different days to get a feel for where we are really needed. And the truth of the matter is it's needed all the time. But the good news is just for about 4 months. So if we can get this done, we will correct this. We will mostly correct this problem. And the proof is things have calmed down dramatically. Now, it is the end of the year, so we have to factor that in. People are leaving. People are thinking of school. So we can't say this is done. It's over. We did a great job. We cannot say that. We have to do this in real time during the busiest times of the season, July and August. And in June, too. And the way the psychology works with enforcement is when people see police officers in high visibility posts, they start to behave in every way better. Even bicycles, everyone, their mind focuses back on safety and being careful. They don't want to be targeted. So the idea is not to write everybody a ticket, although there were a lot of summonses written. The idea is to get people to conform their behavior and drive politely, and it's working. So this little glimpse of what is going on here is obviously proof that we don't need to discuss this any further. We need to do it.
Thank you, Chief. Chris, I see your hand up. Sven, go ahead.
I was just going to follow up on, Chief, can you help us with how many, I know a lot of residents have asked about how many tickets or or how active has it been? Is that something you can divulge or help us with on a scale basis? Obviously, I don't want to break any confidences, but I know many people have asked about roughly how many tickets or how many issuances.
I
Thank you.
don't have the numbers at my disposal because we were writing them today also. I'm going to say around 100, but I could be wrong. I could get you an accurate count, of course, tomorrow. But as
That would
I said,
be helpful,
this
thank
isn't
you.
really about numbers of summonses written. This is about getting people to cooperate with the existing traffic laws and drive politely. Our goal is not to write one summons.
I know.
That's our goal. Our goal
Yeah,
is to
absolutely.
get people to conform and drive politely. So yes, we are going to write a lot of summonses now and next summer if we do this. And then what we hope in the future is we write less and less and less. Then we are successful. If we keep writing the same amount, we are not successful.
Thank you, Chief. Chris Willie?
No, I have the same question. I'm interested in numbers, and the numbers are important actually, because that allows us to make, base our decisions on something moving forward. Not only the numbers from the weekend, but the numbers from the past 2 months, specifically how many summons have NSPD written in the past 2 months. And
NSPD has written very, NSPD
can I
has
stop
written
now? Let me
very
finish.
few
Let me finish. Let me finish.
Certainly.
One at a time. Thank you. Go ahead, Chris.
And so when we have this conversation moving forward on how to address the certain issues, we can at least figure out how we got to where we are and what's needed moving forward to continue this effort, if you will. But the numbers are actually important. And I know we've asked for numbers from the state police, I think a couple meetings ago, specific to, I can't remember, but perhaps someone else on the council does, but we were going to ask, you guys voted on it. I voted no. But we wanted the numbers from the superintendent, or I said those numbers had to come from the state police. So I'll go back and I'll look at what meeting that was, but something so when we do the year-end report, we can actually have a comprehensive discussion and something to look at and a direction to move based on basically what data we have.
Thank you, Chris.
The empirical data is very important. However, really what is important is we have never had enough people here. So when we're dealing with mental health issues, patrol cases, solving crimes, which we've solved almost all of them, and we do have them, and everything else that goes on, this traffic division has augmented us. So although the numbers are very important, I agree completely, and we will provide them. What's important is to see this is what we really need. I've said it over and over and over. I've written reports on it for 17 years. This is where we were lacking. So the NSPD, we'll take an F for traffic. We didn't have anyone. We didn't have anyone. It was designed as a patrol division. When you change from 1,000 to 20,000 people, you need to augment into a traffic division. It costs money. This plan we got done for no cost at all, home run. We're going to have to think about how to fund costs, and I have some ideas on that. But we need to continue this.
Thank you, Chief. Town Manager Mary Ann Crawford.
Thank you, Ken. What I'll do, if it's all right with council, let me work with the police chief on putting together some of that. I think I understand what you folks are looking for. So give me a little bit of time to work with them and get some of the data, and maybe we can also work with the state police, because I'm sure they may also have the data as how many citations that they have written during their presence here on the island. And let's see if we can get that data so we can move forward with making informed decisions.
Thank you, Mary Ann. Chris Willie again. Chris.
When I say, yes, when I say numbers, I'm not specific to traffic violations. I mean, total. If we have, the chief has mentioned over and over, mental health issues, responses, patrol responses, crime solved or detective work, those are all valuable numbers. All right. We need to know what is going on. And for the past 3 years, though, I haven't seen anything about a traffic division. So I don't recall it during budget cycles. this is the first time I've heard about it to this level. I remember Al Davis's traffic report, but that did not result in a recommendation for a traffic division, nor did it have we received any recommendations for funding it. So if that's been produced for every year for the past 17 years, I'm just interested in the past 3. And so we can have that conversation and again, in a comprehensive manner. And I'm not just talking about, when I say numbers, the traffic violations. I certainly would like to know what the numbers were for this weekend specific to the state police. That would be interesting to see. But I mean, in general, when we get the fall report from NSPD, there's a lot of data on it. Not all of it's clear, but I think the more clear it is, there's number of calls, it could run the range of whatever NSPD does, whether it's mental health, domestic crimes, breaking and entering, vehicular, what have you. It's all important information. So you can actually make decisions when it comes budget time and have the evidence, if you would, to show funding for certain things. It's what any department is actually required to do anywhere else in the town. So I think it's just a smart thing for us to do. And when we move forward with talking about this before next summer.
Thank you, Chris. Chief, I'd like to get back to the weekend, specific to the weekend, and we talked about enforcement, but do you have any anecdotal information about the accidents, how many accidents there were over the weekend?
I believe there were about 3, but they were not serious injuries. Now, getting back to what was just said, so you understand, one moped accident or traffic accident, after you write the report from start to finish, takes 2 hours. So if you have 3 people on the road, you have somebody 2 hours in the police station typing. So what was said is true. We are busy. To document and write the reports codified by the state, the accident reports are 8 or 10 pages long. So start to finish, it's probably 2 hours. It's somebody sitting at a desk for 2 hours. These are the things that we're up against. You try to put them on a post, they're busy, they've got to write these reports, they have to get them done before the shift. It's a very busy place. So I don't know that any statistical data will actually be able to really put into place what we actually do. It's very time consuming. We will give you the statistical reports, but I don't think it'll give a true representation about what a person does in a 10-hour shift.
Thank you, Chief. Martha Ball?
Yeah, I have said this before, and it goes along with something the Chief said earlier, because as you all know, I'm right downtown on the corner, and I see the traffic around Rebecca. And when particularly the state police stop someone for anything, you can feel everything just slow down and calm down. And I said this at least, 2-3 weeks ago when they were out here one weekend. That's not quantifiable. I saw state police take someone off a moped and tell them to walk back to wherever it was they got the moped from. And I'm sure that wasn't written up as a report. And I'd rather see 5 people taking off mopeds that shouldn't be riding than have, one long report. I know we need numbers. I don't dispute that at all, but I'm a lot more concerned with immediate results that we can get easily without confrontation. I've also seen that same situation, just like the one I described, escalate into a fist fight where we ended up with a broken porch at the city drug or rags, whatever people call it, and a couple of people being arrested when they could just have taken their moped and walked back. It's also a matter of how things. That was a few years ago, a very long time ago, actually. It's a matter of how things are handled, and to have the de-escalation is really great. Thank you.
Thank you, Martha. Sven Riesem?
Yeah, I really appreciate Mary Ann's comments a minute ago about working with the chief and working with the state police. I think Marianne understands the need for the numbers, and I agree 100% with Chris. And then how to interpret them. So, okay, an arrest means 2 hours of paperwork or whatever it may be, so we can get a handle on it. And I think the chief brings up a very good point. You know, three folks that have been working and or four, however many are on the staff at that one time, they can only handle so much. And so we do have to think about flex staffing, and we have to think a little bit more strategically. And I agree with the chief that I think that putting the pressure on and keeping it on is really important, and getting things into control. So I appreciate Marianne jumping in there on day, whatever it is, 2. And I think that's heading the right direction. So I look forward to that report as soon as possible, and we can all discuss it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sven. Andre, did you want to chime in on this? No volume. Hold on, Andre. I can't unmute you. Somebody mute Andre, please. Thank you. Go ahead.
I did. Yeah, just that we've been having this discussion back and forth. And in fact, we actually have a letter, for another item on the town council that says, something about insufficient law enforcement funding. So I do believe that we have, the numbers will be good, because then we can use those numbers to properly fund our department. And, but like I said, we're so used to having the discussions, and personally, I'm overwhelmingly excited to have a real town manager step in. And Marianne, I thank you for that. And Marianne is gonna, that's Marianne's job, is to take all this to us, to take all that from the departments and present us with a plan. And I look forward to that, but it's not gonna happen tonight. But obviously from the discussion, we're all aware, we all have things we should talk to Marianne about, and the chief too, appreciate the input. But, Marianne's here, she's the town manager, and this is in her hands now. I don't think it's in ours to micromanage this, but I think we need to just give her our opinions. The chief will give her his opinions, and then we can work on this at and have a thoughtful discussion about it. So that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, Andre. I guess I'll chime in also at this point, just briefly, as bail commissioner, serving both the police department and the Rhode Island State Police, I was able to witness several bail hearings over the weekend, and at least 3 or 4 of them were involving DUI apprehensions. One as a result of an accident, but three others I think that were that people were taken off the road. They were acting in an unsafe manner, obviously intoxicated with alcohol, and so I was very relieved to see that happening, and appreciate the fact that the Rhode Island State Police were here to enforce all of our regulations, and we certainly will welcome them back as often as they want to come back this fall and again next summer. So, any further comments on this item from anyone or questions? Andre, go ahead.
Just, chief, I sometimes these meetings aren't difficult, but I do appreciate what you're doing, and we can only move forward from here, and I certainly hope it's in a positive way, and for the betterment of this whole community. And I think that's going to be the case. I think all of our hearts are in this, and like I said, appreciate what everybody's done here in a very difficult summer, and that's all I've had to say.
Thank you, Andre.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The next item on the agenda is to discuss and act on emergency amendments to the town ordinances regulating motorized cycles and mopeds to deal with the emergency which is arisen regarding public health and or general welfare of the town. And specifically, this item is required to address the following: a series of moped and other accidents this summer culminating in a moped accident fatality, as well as personal injury resulting from a constant series of moped accidents. The town's ability to deal with such accidents and injuries because of the number of town's rescue personnel has been reduced approximately 1/3 as a result of personnel not electing to respond because of the COVID-19 crisis and the overwhelming of the town's medical resources and the overwhelming of the town's police force and resources. The following items pertaining to motorized cycles and mopeds may be discussed and considered. And I listed on the agenda item, I did list several things that did come up in a conversation that Martha and I had, I believe on Thursday, with 2 of the moped operators and one other license holder, specifically Mike Fenimore, John Leone, and Blake Filippi. The chief was involved in the conversation also. As I said, Martha was there with myself. And we did talk about basically a lot of the concerns that the community has in general over the moped issue. And we tried to find out if there was something that could be done formally or informally to try and rectify some of the problems and concerns that everyone was having. Councilman Willie?
Yeah, I'll be recusing. I have basically my landlord has a moped license. But if I can ask, for the benefit of the public, can you be explicitly clear when you have your dialogue, which I won't be participating in, what is allowed, what the council can and cannot do legally? Because I think I don't think it's very clear. And I think that would be very beneficial to the community.
Thank you, Chris. Martha, did you want to have a comment about our meeting before I start in?
No, well, yes.
Go ahead.
I thought we had a pretty good meeting. There were some suggestions that were made by the dealers. I think some were, or two people representing, I believe, most of the operators. And I do think there were some items on this agenda list that are very long-term that don't come under anything that we can deal with tonight. I think really the only things we have that we can talk about tonight are things that the moped people have presented. And I think some of them are, do we know what has been put in place? Are the wristbands, for example, in place? I know some work has been done this weekend. I just don't know what specifically.
Yeah. So one of the things we did talk about. Well, the meeting started, if I may, the meeting started with a discussion and the moped operators indicating that they were not going to challenge the town's reduction of the numbers at this time, from 35 per dealer to 25.
Excuse me, Ken. 34 to 25.
34. I'm sorry. Thank you, Martha. 34 to 25. And that was the first discussion of the meeting. And then we got into the other concerns that everyone had. We pretty much covered almost all the bases. Things that we were able to, I think, agree on with the operators. The first was that wristbands the folks who were the renters who, the people who were renting the mopeds who were actually involved in the orientation and the brief test of the operation of the moped. John Leone, I believe, had already started that activity. And after discussion, the other operator agreed that it would be a good thing to do to have anyone who had been trained, or not trained, I'm sorry, oriented to the operation of the moped would then put on a wristband, a plastic wristband, sort of like you get at an event or whatever. And that would indicate to anyone who's watching that operation of that moped who the person who was oriented to the operation of the moped was. And so obviously we had verbalized there was concern about when you have a double moped go out that at some point later in the afternoon or the day they switch, and you have a person who was not properly observed at the beginning of the rental operating that moped, and a lot of times that ends up in an accident. So the idea is to have that indication that the person who had been trained was the person who wearing the wristband and going forward itself. This is not intended to go hand in hand or be part and parcel to any kind of action in terms of alcohol serving. That is entirely up to whoever is the venue is where they're going to have lunch or whatever. That the intention was specifically to indicate which person on the moped who's renting the moped was the person who was actually set up to operate that moped and allowed to operate that moped. So that is our intention, and as a result, the operators did agree to that. And all weekend, every moped I saw go by, if it was a rental moped, had one of these indicators on one of the riders or if it's a single rider, they had it on also. So we know who's operating the moped. And I think that was a very positive thing, and it some security knowing who should be operating that moped. Another item that came up and we did discuss, and it's going to take some information to get some information out there, is that they agreed that it would be beneficial for everyone to require full shoes, not flip-flops, in terms of operating the moped. Obviously, I saw people over the weekend operating the mopeds with flip-flops on, but they obviously showed up and weren't aware of this. So we'd like to get the word out now and in all the social media and whatnot that you will be required to have full shoes when you rent a moped because it's dangerous to operate otherwise with only flip-flops on. Also, we want to make sure that everyone is issued helmets on the mopeds, and also everyone is wearing eye protection if they're driving the moped. So those are other items that we did discuss, and I believe the operators did agree that was a good idea, and they would definitely go forward with that. We did talk about, and this has been brought up, having stickers to apply to the moped that indicate, one, that the dirt roads are off limits on the island, and two, that the horn is an emergency tool not to be used excessively, but only in terms of in case of emergencies. And they did agree that that was something that they would be interested in being able to do. And we also basically made it clear, I think, Martha can corroborate this, that the important thing in terms of the safety was the screening of the people who are renting the mopeds, that the operators have it within their control to screen these folks. And if a person is obvious, and sometimes it's more obvious than not, but if a person is obviously unable to safely operate that moped, they should not be allowed to go out on the roads with that moped. And I think we made it very clear in our discussions that we were looking for increased and improved screening methods and screening characteristics, and raise the bar higher in terms of letting folks out and making sure that they've been properly oriented to the moped and given a test that hopefully indicates that they are safe to be operating these. So that was also discussed. The other things that were discussed that were brought up by Martha and I were the operation hours. As you know, we voted last week, I believe, to cut the hours back. I believe that we required that the mopeds be turned in by 5 o'clock, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. And the operators were asking if we would reconsider that, that they were concerned about the returning of the mopeds at that early time would intensify the use of those in the late afternoon and have everyone coming back at the same time. They suggested, or they requested, that we reconsider that and perhaps extend it to 7 o'clock. Martha and I made no promises or no indications of that the council would do anything along those lines, but we would bring that request back to the council. And the other thing that was discussed was the age limit. We did bring up the subject, and that has been suggested by many people in the emails that we've been getting from folks, that perhaps one problem may be the age specific renters in the venue of under 25 years might be a concern in terms of the performance and the activities that many of them partake in. But there again, that was an item that the moped operators did not necessarily agree with us on in terms of the success or the value in that. So we were unable to get any confirmation or any commitment to them to do that limitation on a voluntary basis. Martha, can you fill in anything else I might have forgotten?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good, because I got a little voice saying I was muted. I don't think so. Again, I just want to say again, I think we're talking about a variety of different things here, and there were things that they did represent that they would be willing to do immediately, and some were long term, and there was some not complete agreement among the I'm just going to use the term operator just because it's easier, about a variety of problems and issues that they recognize. And I think that I felt that they were, it's nobody's best interest, including theirs, which they recognize, to have accidents and have things going badly and getting bad publicity. The improper use of horns, I thought that was in the motion that we make when we approve these licenses. I know it is.
I'm sorry, Martha, I lost part of that. Go ahead again.
The improper use of horns, there's something in the approval motion, I'm sorry, I meant to get this today, that the horn is not a toy. I think that's already in our motion. I don't know why.
Well, go ahead.
Can I have that? I have that information from Martha. That's in the settlement agreement, the most recent one, number 7, says there shall be conspicuously displayed on every moped, motorized scooter, blah, 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 a sticker which states, town ordinance, no use of horn is permitted except as a warning of danger or is provided in the vehicle code, fines up to $500.
Okay,
Right.
good. Thank you. That's what I was looking for.
Okay,
So
Ken, can I just add to that?
That's not even an item of conversation. That's a done deal.
Ben Risa?
I just want to add to Martha, on the January 15th minutes of the town council, the minutes read, any lease agreement between a moped renter, the lease licensee shall include hours of operation, safety features, information regarding operation on unimproved roads, and the following language, quote, the horn on the vehicle is a piece of equipment designed for emergency use and should be used only in this fashion, end quote.
Right.
Yeah, thanks. That is dovetails what Kathy read, which is part of the settlement. So I'm not even sure what we're talking about. I think the one thing that we were kind of hoping that maybe the horns could be adjusted in the future, but that's a long-term thing. That's, we're at the end of August now, and I think our main objective right now is having as few accidents as possible between now and the end of the season, and continuing dialogue in the fall and not be in the springtime talking about this, which is crazy. And we had some things that were being discussed last winter, as I think everyone knows, and then between the manager leaving and the interim coming in and the COVID basically shutting us down for everything except COVID conversations, things just simply didn't there was no follow through on either side.
Right. We do have, I'm not sure if the council is aware, but late this afternoon, we did get another letter in from the operators. At least they're indicated at the bottom of it. Did everyone see that letter?
Yep.
Okay. I'll basically, it came in this afternoon. I guess I can read it. It's pretty much similar to the previous one we had, but dear council members, thank you for the continued dialogue about traffic safety. As we've discussed in line with most other businesses facing reduced capacity COVID-19, we have agreed to not contest the temporary reduction in the number of mopeds available for rent. We do urge you to rethink the imposed 5 p.m. closing time, as this is compelling all customers to rent within the same shortened window. We think it'd be more safe and responsible to spread out the rentals, while at the same time we will not offer any specials that would shift rentals to certain time periods. Oh, that was the other thing I missed, is they will not be offering any specials from the 4 to 6 hours they had previously. I continue on the letter. We've also agreed to institute our authorized driver wristband system. This has proven most successful in helping police identify authorized drivers, and for bars and liquor stores to withhold service from them. There again, that was, as indicated, that is something that's up to the bars and liquor stores if they want to use that as a tool. As we reflect on a summer that winds down, we believe most moped issues are a symptom of the underlying problems that our community faces: alcohol overconsumption, rowdiness, lack of appropriate infrastructure, and insufficient law enforcement funding. Indeed, the past weekend, we all have experienced a very different atmosphere on Block Island. Aside from one alcohol-related car accident, there have been few other incidents, and most people were well behaved. Restrictions on any daytime outdoor entertainment and increased police presence undoubtedly made a difference. Going forward, we want to work in concert with the town because that's how positive change has always been accomplished. From additional street signage to our annual donations to the medical center and the rescue squad, we suggest the root of that cooperation should be a reinstituted moped safety commission with an expanded charge to deal with the myriad of traffic and pedestrian issues the island faces. Additionally, we fully support a town ordinance requiring helmets for all rental and private bicycle and moped riders, and will aid the town however we can to get this done. Once again, thank you for the continued open dialogue. I also should indicate that
Ken,
yes, Martha, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know I've seen that letter. Was that emailed out to us? I said I had it, but I don't have it. But I know I've seen it. Was that sent to us? Do you know?
It's not the same one we had last week. This came in. This came in.
Right. Yeah, this was today. I just saw it today.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Was it emailed to us? Do you know? Does
Uh,
anybody know? Is anybody in the clerk's office line?
Molly, can you answer that question? Patrick.
Molly?
Hi, it's Molly. Yes, that got emailed out to you late this afternoon.
Okay, I'll find it somewhere. Thank you.
Sven Reesum.
Yeah, Ken, I hear that mopeds, I understand their desire to stay open later. I think that we've had one point of data, which is one weekend, and I'd like to see a number of other weekends, given the safety record and all that, before we actually entertain a real change. Given that the season's really near the end, I'm not excited about the conversation per se. So I hope we aren't considering changing it quickly. Because I think we should get a number of weekends under our belt to really make any kind of decisions. Thank you.
Thank you. Andre Boudreau.
Thank you, Ken. So we have, I just want to be clear as to what the moped operators have agreed. It didn't seem in this letter that they sent, and I'm going to use this letter as that they sent as something they're solidly agreeing on. I know you said in your discussion that they've agreed to, solid shoes. It doesn't say that in this letter, so I just wanted a clarification on that because I think the wristbands and the shoes, I'm not, can you clarify on that? Like, it's not in their letter about shoes. They said they were fine with it with you guys?
Yeah, I can't clarify in terms of what was included in the letter and what was not. I can only represent what was indicated to us at the meeting, and Martha can corroborate.
Okay. The wristband system, which I think is a good start. But so let me be clear. Anybody on a moped gets a wristband, or just a designated driver on a moped?
I believe that the person who is oriented, who is authorized to operate the moped is the one who gets the wristband.
Okay. Just want to be clear. So it could be a double rider moped and one person has the wristband and one doesn't.
Correct.
Okay, so that would still allow, and I'm just not trying to be negative, but that would still allow, a double rider on a moped to go into the Redbird and get some boost and jump on that moped, and which has been happening. And, I don't know how that would work. And I did get a few phone calls from people last weekend who were wondering about the wristband. So I just want to, if we could get the word out to every establishment that sells liquor that, that describes the wristband system and what they're being asked to do in regards to that I think, either as a town or the operators, I think we should take the initiative on behalf of the operators to maybe send out a letter to everybody who serves liquor complaining what's going on. I think that would be a good thing.
While you're thinking, Andre, there is some wind in your mic, so we're losing some of the comments, but we're pretty much otherwise.
I had to go outside to get good internet, and there's wind outside. Can't win them all. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. I did have I think it's a great idea. And this is what I was referencing earlier, insufficient law enforcement funding. Without the data and the numbers, we would have maybe had sufficient law enforcement funding if we didn't have the summer that we had. And if we didn't, I mean, we funded the police what they asked. So this year. So I know that's something that needs to be looked at. Going forward, you know, that I agree with all of that, and I appreciate this letter from the operators. It's the Moped Safety Commission. I do believe we should set up a sort of task force this time to discuss what Martha had said. You know, some of these things we can discuss, you know, as a community group with the moped operators involved, with you know, community members. But I agree that a lot of this stuff is not going to be solved tonight. But I think we should give an indication that we're going in that direction, and maybe task the town manager to start researching, you know, trying to get this task force formed as soon as she possibly can. I did discuss that with her today, and she seems amenable to that, but I don't want to speak for her. And I think that's all I have. To answer Chris, I think we need time to, maybe Kathy can answer Chris's question, because I have had that question come in where, you know, people just don't understand what the town is allowed to do with regards to the ordinances with the moped operator licenses. I know Kathy's tried to explain that a couple. And
Just lost you, Andre.
all right,
Couple dozen
I just
times.
try to reference Chris, you know, Chris's question. I think we need to take some time to research what we can do with our own ordinances to see how much teeth they would have. And Kathy can maybe chime in on that. But right now, I think the shoes and things that they are requesting is good for right now. But I think, you know, anything else, a long-term discussion needs to be had.
And could I just get clarification on the wristbands? I think as far as the wristbands and alcohol service, that's just a good faith effort, isn't it? I don't think we can compel
No,
liquor people to. I'm sorry, could you clarify that?
right. No, that wasn't, no, we can't do that. And I think what we're trying to do is we're just indicating who the operator of the moped is. And as I said, I think it is just an indication that can be used by other venues if they choose to, that
Right.
liability wise and everything else, the operators are merely handing out those wristbands so that the authorized person for that moped is indicated.
So there isn't really any reason for anybody to be telling people they can't serve people, because they can.
No.
I don't think we have that authority.
No, that's not in the regulation. It's not in the ordinance.
I just want to be sure that was really clear. I think it's a great effort, and if people will cooperate, it would be wonderful. And I would hope they would. And that's where we are right now.
As far as getting back to Andre, your previous question, I mean, the settlement agreement, the original settle agreement, which has been renewed every 5 years, specifically states that both parties to the agreement, that is to say the town of New Shoreham and the moped operators, both parties waive their right to petition the General Assembly to pass legislation regarding the regulation of mopeds on Block Island during the aforementioned 5-year period. The parties agree to abide by this agreement regardless of any action of the legislature to the extent permitted by law during the aforementioned 5-year period. It's the original legislation is what prevents the town from taking action to ban all the mopeds and to take back the licenses and to lower the numbers to the degree of doing it arbitrarily or doing it in a sense of doing it unilaterally. We've made the suggestion, we made the motion, and at this time, the moped operators have agreed to go along with it, as indicated by the letter, as indicated by the meeting that Martha and I had the other day. They agreed that with everything going on with COVID, with the difficulties that we're having with the number of accidents, that they've agreed to reduce each of the moped operators' numbers from 34 to 25. And with the realization that they're doing it on a quote unquote voluntary basis, or doing it to comply with the town's wishes at this time. But that that any action that would happen, which they would not go along with, would certainly be not what would be allowed if we tried to go to the legislature to do it without their consent, if you will. So that's basically where we are. We also, I think the other thing that came up in the discussions were had about the orientation and the test that's done, and how that needs to happen in another place, needs to happen somewhere else other than Weldon's Way. And we did not come up with any final solutions at the meeting we had last week, but that I think there was some agreement in the room that we would have discussions about where that could take place going forward in the future, and try to get and definitely get those operations off the road. So that was broached, but that's nothing that we were able to solve last Thursday. Like I said, that was the discussion that we had.
Yeah, great. I'm so glad you could explain that, in simple terms, because as you know, we've gotten lots of emails asking, why can't you do this? Why can't you do this and that? And I just don't think a lot of people understand that consent agreement. And I certainly appreciate them. I certainly appreciate the operators coming forward with this letter today and suggesting dialogue. And I don't think that I think it's a fantastic idea. And like I said, I think we should form, a task force group. I'm not sure about the moped, the Moped Safety Commission. I think it should be an overarching group of and report to us with recommendations. But like I said, do that this fall. We can do it this fall and see where it goes from there.
Okay, thank you, Andre. We're losing you a little bit in the wind, but we caught most of that.
So just as next steps, I mean, I think the task force, as we say, getting into the fall, but I just want to make sure that our next steps, at least over the next few weeks, is that this is transferring to Mary Ann, at least as a point person, Ken, or is it you and Martha? I'm just trying to think about how, at least over the next 2 or 3 weeks, we get the reports, we get the information, and it would seem to me that if this can go to Mary Ann as a leader and the town manager, that would seem to be the next steps. And then, as we just all agreed, getting into the fall, we can put task force together or whatever. But I'm very focused on the next month, I'll call it. We don't know how September's going to be, and I just want to make sure that we have a clear point person at hand. Thank you.
Mary Ann, did you want to chime in?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I think it's a good idea to how we proceed. I do need to get up to speed on a lot of things. I haven't looked at the agreements that have been in place. I was encouraged by the letter late this afternoon from the moped owners, whether we call it a task force or a reinstated Moped Safety Commission. I think we'll eventually get to the same place. So what I'll do is I'll think through as to who I think should be on the participants, and also I'll go back and look at the Moped Safety Commission. I'll reach out to the owners if that's what the council would like me to do at this point, and let's get this. I think we're in a good place. I see positive movements here. I'm really encouraged, especially once I saw the letters late this afternoon.
I think if Mary Ann, if you need any involvement with any member of the council, we'd certainly be willing to work with you on that if necessary. Martha Ball, go ahead.
Yeah, I would certainly be willing to offer, because I've been involved in this in one way or another since the longer than I care to admit, and decades, literally decades. And I also I was on the original group that put the ordinance together after we got the legislation. The only thing I want to say was, and Andre touched on this already, but I just want to reinforce it, that I think what we have seen this summer I know everybody likes to throw around moped safety committee, but it's a broader issue. You need only go on the streets to know mopeds are just a piece of it. They're probably only the most noticeable piece because they got those darn horns on them. There's a lot of stuff that goes on, and I don't want to just make this as narrow. I think it might have been moped and bike to begin with, but that may even be too narrow. But let's just call it something else and not put ourselves in a corner. But that's again that's for the next couple of weeks, a few weeks,
Right.
months, whatever.
Okay. Thank you, Martha. Andre?
No, I was going to thank Martha for her comments because I was about to throw her under the bus to put her on that committee, but I'm glad she offered because I think
Yeah. Thank you, Andre. So any, like I said, any further discussion or comments on this? Questions?
just if we could get like I said, just what are the shoes aren't on the list. Just if we could get a list of things that the moped operators have certainly agreed to, because there seems to be two different pieces of info here, and if we don't have something solid and from them, obviously in these times, implied things result in millions of emails, phone calls, and whatnot about I've seen this and that. So if we could just clarify what the offer is there, if shoes are involved, because I didn't see it on the list. I don't know who would reach out for that. I mean, maybe Kathy could reach out to their attorney.
Well, appropriate footwear is on the list, right? It's the last one mentioned.
Okay. So if we make that public, that would be great, just so everybody in the community knows what's on the table, and more importantly, the direction we're moving forward with discussions. I'm fine. I think we've accomplished what we need to do tonight. Although a lot of people might not be happy about, I'm glad we got the word out there about the settlement agreement. Obviously the operators are on board to have discussions, and we look forward. I mean, I personally look forward to a larger discussion on the issue. But for the end of the summer now, moving into the fall, I think we've set the course of where we want to go, along with the operators, and I'm happy about that.
So just to be clear out there, there is a reduction that the moped operators are going along with for this year on the numbers. The wristbands are going to be necessary and need to be worn by the authorized drivers for the purposes of identification of the authorized drivers. Mandatory proper footwear for all riders. So if you're coming to Block Island to rent a moped, you need to bring shoes, not just flip-flops. Looking for helmets for all riders. And there's going to be improved safety measures that the operators have agreed to try and implement in terms of training and in terms of authorization. Improper use of horns is not going to be frowned upon in a big way. There will be enhanced enforcement of all traffic violations, not just mopeds, into the fall. So be warned that that's going to be happening. And finally, I think the dirt road prohibitions. Mopeds are not in any way, shape, or form allowed on dirt roads on the island, and that will be enforced also. So I think that's a synopsis of where we are right now, going forward. And we certainly hope that.
Ken?
Yes, go ahead, Martha.
The helmets. They said they would support an ordinance going forth for helmets. That wasn't. I'm reading the last letter this afternoon.
I believe they're indicating the riders of the mopeds would be wearing helmets, would be issued helmets and have helmets.
That would be great. But what I'm reading from this afternoon's letter was, we fully support a town ordinance requiring helmets for all rental and private bicycles and mopeds, and will aid the town however we can to get this done.
Right. Yeah, Johnny indicated that in a previous letter also. That's something that the council can work on going forward.
Okay.
Thank you. Anything further on this? Um, Okay. Final item on the agenda is minutes. We have several sets of minutes from the last packet. We also have 2 more sets of minutes that were really minutes sent to us today or yesterday. So I'd like to try and get some of these minutes approved, and some of them are date back to last year. I think we've all had plenty of time now to read them if we're going to read them. I've read through them all. I haven't found anything that I need to correct, but I don't know if everyone wants to try and do them in mass, or if you want to try and do them one set at a time. It's up to you. Sven Riesum?
I don't have a lot of edits or changes, but I think if we can just pop through them one at a time, it would seem more appropriate from a process point of view, just so we can check them off
Okay.
personally.
I have one hand raised. Wait a minute. I have one hand raised. What's 0902? I don't have a name next to it. Zero 0902.
Me a minute to organize my minutes. That just blew all over the place.
Okay. All right. So I'm sorry, Sven. Does everyone want to do the minutes in mass or what?
When do your minutes start? November 25th?
I guess, or yes, November 25th. Yes.
My birthday.
Yes, Ken, I would love it if you don't mind just going through November 25th. We can all vote quick, just
Sure.
we can be done in 5 minutes. I hope, I think.
Mine have gotten out of order, so we can, someone can make a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from November 25th, 2019. It says 9 a.m., but
Yeah. I'll second the motion. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposition?
do you want me to keep going, Ken?
Go ahead.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from December 2nd. There are actually 2 sets. This would be the open meeting that says 6 p.m.
Okay, I'll second it. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Martha?
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
Aye.
I make a motion to approve the minutes for the same December 2nd, 6 p.m. It labeled confidential draft. Should that be different?
I'll second it. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So moved.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from December 4th, 2019 at 4 p.m.,
Second.
which is about the harbor management plan.
I second it. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I make a motion to approve January 15th, 2020, at 5:30 p.m., which was a confidential meeting.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
So moved.
I make a motion to approve the January 15th, 2020 minutes, which was at 5:30 p.m. Yes.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I make a motion to approve the March 4th, 2019 minutes at 7 p.m. that day.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
I
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
I make a motion to approve the March 6th, 2019 meeting minutes at 4 PM. First subject on that was hop on, hop off.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved.
I make a motion to approve the March 11th, 2020, 7 PM meeting minutes. Oh, this is
Second.
about the town budget.
Second. Any opposition? All those in favor?
Aye.
I make a motion to approve the May 11th, 2020 meeting minutes at 4 PM. These minutes were actually from May 8th. They're continued to May 11th, 2020 at 4 PM.
Second.
So it's 2 days.
Seconded by, who's Andre?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Any objection? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
I make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from Wednesday, August 19th, 2020 at 7 PM.
Second it.
I'm sorry, what numbers? I mean, can you,
That was Wednesday, August 19th, 2020 at 7 PM.
I have one small change to that. It's, about Stephen Martin, Jimmy Keon. That is, it's Jimmy Keon, P-I-O-N, not Keon. I'm not sure it's me, but,
Martha.
it's, under the warden's report, it's, Jimmy P-I-O-N, not Key, K-E-O-N.
Thank you, Andre.
You're welcome.
This was, why do I have another set of minutes for August 19th, 7 PM?
Oh, we had a-
Closed session?
It's executive session.
Okay,
And one's
All right.
open session.
okay, so you're approving the, correct?
That was the open session I made the motion on.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
I make a motion to approve the August 19th, 2020, 7 PM confidential meeting minutes.
Seconded, I'd like to indicate that the minutes should indicate that it was confidential. But I don't believe they do.
I believe it says that at the top of them, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does,
Fine.
yes.
Mm-mm. Okay,
Or at least the one I have does.
Right.
Is
Any
that
objection?
motion second?
yeah, any objection? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Last one, I make a motion to approve the August 19th, 2020, 7 PM meeting minutes.
Second? Any objection? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Very good. I believe that's, go
Ken,
ahead.
Ken,
Go ahead, Sven.
real briefly, I just got a text from Pete Gemp. I think he was the number that was trying to get in. And I don't know what that number, well, I can find out, but I think that would be
Ken.
oh, there he is. 0902 number.
Ken, there's Peter Gemp, 0902.
Oh, there you go, Pete. Okay, sorry about that.
Thanks,
Couldn't
no
pick-
problem.
Couldn't pick you up.
I just have a question. When you say the moped renters have to supply helmets, do they also tell them that they have to be buckled?
Well, obviously they should, and obviously they should be buckled. That's a good point, Pete. I mean, that we can certainly pass that along. It's a very good point. You're
I
absolutely
think
right.
that
They-
did come up actually.
I have seen none that were. And on the
Yeah.
question about the bracelets that are given out, I have gone around to different establishments and have seen people turn people away, and I have seen people say that the bracelet doesn't really mean anything. They can do what they want. It is mandatory that they not serve them alcohol with that bracelet on. Is that true?
The bracelet is on, the sole purpose for the bracelet is for the operators to indicate who is authorized to operate the moped. As I said, if anyone else decides to use that information for another purpose, that is not something that is mandatory or not out there. That's something someone can choose to do in their own establishment if they choose to.
I saw many different establishments that did not adhere to the bracelet rule. So I don't know what good that is going to do.
Sven, go ahead.
Pete, I think just to reiterate, I think this is basically allows the operators and the enforcement, whether it's state or regular, if somebody is driving the moped without the bracelet, that's an issue. And it's basically allowing any establishment or anywhere to know who is driving the moped. It's up to that establishment how they want to behave and act properly. And the good news is some places, and I saw it too, are turning away those people with bracelets from directly buying alcohol. Sure, are there ways to get around it? I'm sure there are, and I'm sure we're all creative should we want to, but let's take one step at a time, in my opinion, and at least we've got an identification of who the drivers are, and now we got to start figuring out how to make sure they don't get alcohol or minimize it.
Well, I'm sure you've seen the pictures on social media. It just the bracelets don't mean anything. I don't know. It just befuddles me to, yes, the people that run the businesses should adhere by that, but they don't. From what I understand, they don't have to.
That's true.
That's correct. That's correct.
The other thing is, I am on the mainland. I was notified about this meeting at 4:46. Be on the meeting at 5. This is not the first time. I know it could be a mistake, but it's starting to get a little irritating. I'm sorry if there was a mistake by someone that works there, but to have 24 minutes to get into a meeting is a little disgruntled. Also, you mentioned that there was an accident on Old Mill Road. What about the one that happened on Pilot Hill Road? Was that not, did that not mean anything?
We did mention that there was more than one accident over the weekend. We weren't really identifying what each one was.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was late. Like I say, I'm on the mainland and I got notified late. I'm sorry.
I apologize for the late notice, Pete. We'll try and get that rectified. And then you're not the only one who had late notice of it, but it made for a short day for a lot of us too, even if we did know about it. So the other thing I want to indicate though too is the wristbands do allow the folks that are being hired, the security firm that are being hired by the moped operators, to identify infractions of their own rules. So if they see one of their mopeds being operated by someone without a wristband, they can go ahead and stop that moped and have them turn in the keys. So there are more methods to it. There are more opportunities for enforcement with those wristbands.
Like I said, I did see some establishments turn away people, and the people were not upset at all. They did not know what had gone for, and they were more than happy to comply with what was going on. I just wondered why it's like one way. If you want to do it, you can do it. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. I guess is what the answer is.
Well,
Mason?
if I
Hold on,
might-
Mason.
Yep.
I was going to say, let's take one step at a time. Pete, I was called by two restaurants, bars, and they were asked me, you know, is it okay to not serve somebody with a bracelet? And I said, yes, it's up to your discretion. But that person, you know, the key thing is now you know who is going to be driving the moped. And I was really encouraged that those businesses are not going to serve somebody. And I think that's a good step for the community, pulling together and saying, you know, we sort of had enough. I'm not going to serve somebody if he's riding a moped. And if somebody else decides to, Pete, that's too bad. Maybe we should all look at those businesses and say, why are you doing that? But now the businesses know who's technically the responsible person for that moped. So my hope would be we as citizens will look at that business that is serving somebody with a bracelet and call it out a little bit. And I don't mean on social media. I don't mean backbiting. I mean, go to the person face to face and say, you know, this does mean something. And I hope we can work as a community to try and improve the safety and the health of the island. And I don't say that lightly. So I hope everybody on this call and friends will start going to those businesses and just saying, please help everybody make it safer.
Martha Ball. Hold on, Pete.
No,
Pete. Martha, go ahead.
I was only going to say, I really don't believe we have the legal authority to do that and have it hold up. And if we can get even part voluntary compliance at this stage in the game, it can only help us. It's better than nothing. It's better than something that won't work at all. I'd rather get half a loaf than get a whole loaf thrown out.
Thank you, Martha.
Just one more thing, Ken,
Go ahead.
please.
Go ahead.
I applaud those businesses that are doing what they're doing. The ones that didn't kind of upset me a little bit, and that goes back to what Sven said. I totally agree with Sven, but let's see what happens, what goes on. I was very happy to see the operators of the businesses let the operators know that was what we were trying to do. And like I said, not one person gave them any crap. So I guess, like Sven said, let's see what happens within the next few weeks, and hopefully that will take care of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pete. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn,
Second.
seconded by Andre. All those in favor, Andre?
Aye.
Ben? Chris?
I
Chris? Martha?
Aye.
I vote in the affirmative also. Meeting adjourned. Thank you all for joining us this evening. Have a safe rest of the week and obviously a safe weekend. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marianne. Thank you, Marianne. Welcome again on your first meeting.
Thank you.
And thank you, Kathy Murillo, for being here with us too. Good evening.